Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network, episode number 67. It is Wednesday, September the 9th, 2020. Working our way into the fall. Actually, a chill in the air every once in a while when you walk outside, which signals autumn is here. A lot of great racing still to come here in the 2020 season. Of course, as you all know, with everything that happened through the COVID-19 pandemic, the whole sport kind of shutting down for a time. A lot of races getting rescheduled, moved. So we got a lot of races on the calendar through September, October, November, and into December. So there'll be a lot more EKN debriefs, a lot more podcasts, a lot more content coming here on EKN. Again, my name is Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. The event in question, the review today of the 2020 United States Pro Kart Series Badger State Grand Prix. This USPKS series heading north to Wisconsin this past weekend to C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex at Road America. David Cole was trackside along with Tim Coyne. We did our EKN trackside live coverage. David's going to give us a full overview of what we saw this past weekend. Today's show brought to you by Franklin Motorsports. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and they can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. They specialize in IME engines, tilt seats, and of course, their championship-winning Merlin chassis. They've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. And David, talking about Franklin Kart and Franklin Motorsports, man, you're essentially in their backyard in Wisconsin this past weekend.
We were in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for the second event of the United States Pro Kart Series. And you don't realize how close Road America really is to Milwaukee. It took me an hour basically from downtown Milwaukee to the gates at Road America. So it's not that far away from the metropolitan area of Milwaukee. Probably an hour and a half away from Green Bay as well. So it's kind of centralized in the middle of the eastern half of the state. And of course, as you know, it is one of the crown jewels of North America racing.
Yeah, one of my favorite tracks to go to every year. You know, we obviously head there with the Road to Indy and IndyCar. It's been some time, and you'll talk about this, some time since we've been there with karting itself as well at the C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex. And, when everything kind of moved around and people were trying to figure out where we were going to be able to race, I was really happy to see that Mark Coates decided to put a race up there at Road America, because I think it's a place that the track's a fantastic racetrack. They put some money into it in the resurfacing. And yeah, it deserved a national for sure. And I'm looking forward to getting your report here today.
Yeah, and Wisconsin is one of the states that has been open with the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, we've seen stuff being moved out of Illinois. That's been a major issue. Indiana is another state, as we know from the last 2 months, being very busy with motorsports and racing. So again, that had a lot to do with it as well, because again, Florida, was going to be the opener back in March when everything happened. But as we know, Florida's kind of been a little bit locked down here and there sporadically with events such as karting. And so it's very hard, as you said, to kind of to schedule around what's going on in the sport. So but yeah, it was great to get the United States Pro Kart Series up to Road America. A great weekend overall, comfortable temperatures all weekend long. There was a threat of rain on Sunday. It was, even Saturday night, everybody's like, okay, should we do the rain setup now or wait in the morning? And and that's one of the things, that there was nothing on the radar whatsoever that was west of Elkhart Lake, maybe in Montana, nothing even out that far. And so I had the bet of it wasn't going to rain on Sunday. I was telling everybody, no, I had my junior meteorologist hat on, and I was like, it's not going to rain. And it didn't rain until the final checkered flag waved, and there was a little bit of a light sprinkle as the podiums took place. So it timed out perfectly. But more importantly, no major incidents, no red flags, no flips, no ambulance runs whatsoever. So it was a safe weekend overall. Again, it's just it was a really, and no major issues in the opening corners with the way the track's laid out with the chicane essentially for the opening corner. So it was overall a really successful, strong, safe weekend.
Nice. Just off the top, overall sense, do people want to go back to Road America again?
Well, I'll get in that later, but
all right, you get that later.
I mean, essentially, yeah. I think that's the kind of the general consensus of being there this past weekend. I mean, this is the first time that I had been there with cars actually on the on the big racetrack, on the 4.1 mile road course. So it was cool to be, it kind of had that Daytona feel where, there's another event going on aside from your event. And a lot of times you saw a lot of it was a Porsche event. So there were a lot of the golf carts from that side of the paddock coming this way to check out the karting events. And of course, there's trails that run all along the 4.1 mile track. So golf carts and walkers are all along that. And to be honest, I think people just go there and camp and hang out for the weekend. So you just had some casual standbyers that came to just hang out at the racetrack watching karting and watching I think that had about 150 Porsches out on the racetrack.
That's big.
I mean, you're talking like 40-year-old Porsches to, cars that have been in GT3 competition last year. So
nice. So you did all the things. You went down to Siebkens. I saw some stuff on social media. Get a couple more e-karting news stickers into Siebkens. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. It's again, it's a historic place. A lot of different places to kind of stop off at in Road America. I'll talk a little bit more about that in Paddock.
All right, I like it. Okay, let's jump into the numbers, Dave. By the numbers, we do this every debrief. We talked about the great numbers from Newcastle to start the season off. 218 entries for that particular race at Newcastle, the opener this year. Again, that kind of was strengthened a little bit by the fact that the SCUSA Pro Tour was coming for a double weekend there, so guys potentially wanting to get set up. Overall, 165 entries, I think, did you end up with at Road America?
Excuse me. The 165 entries was the total. So, again, you look at it, it was the fourth largest USPKS event in the 8-year history of the program. So, to start off the year with the largest ever, and then now the fourth largest, it's pretty good numbers because I think we at GoPro, you're going to have the opportunity to kind of be in between that 218 to 165. So anywhere, I'm going to kind of throw a 180 mark out there. I think it's going to be around that 180 mark because the GoPro just has a number of locals who always show up to major events such as this. Being in the month of October, not a lot of racing's going on, so people are going to be wanting to still go racing by that time. So I think we're going to have, this will probably be next to last year, one of the best years in terms of numbers with the program.
Yeah, 23 drivers in both the micro and mini Swift category, 24 in junior, 27 in X30 Pro, 12 drivers in the X30 Masters class, and 19 and 37 respectively in KA100 junior and senior. So with that nice, tight, focused 7-class structure, some good numbers there, mostly in the mid 20s, couple into the teens, and of course the highest one, KA100 senior at 37 drivers. When we get back from this break, David Cole will jump into the paddock pass, and David will give you some more insight. Not so much what happened in all the racing events themselves, but of course what happened overall, kind of milling around the paddock and stuff that Dave might have picked up. So stay with us, folks. More to come here on, as we said, the 67th episode of the EKN Debrief, as David Cole gives us our full podcast review of the USPKS Badger State Grand Prix from Road America. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and safety gear to get you on the track. ShopAKRA.com offers a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure that all the latest equipment is available to you, the consumer. With customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Also, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials, clearance items, and new products. experience, and passion. That's what led to the launch of AMAX Racing. Owner Charles Maxwell began AMAX Racing in 2015, expanding the operation in 2019 with a focus on driver development for drivers of all age groups and backgrounds. From top-level drivers to grassroots racers or families looking for a team that will help them achieve their goals, AMAX Racing can guide you with the absolute best trackside service at affordable prices. No matter the chassis, AMAX Racing welcomes you and has the experience to put you on the top of the podium. You can join the AMAX Racing family at the WK Manufacturers Cup Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, and local events around the Indianapolis area. The operation is also set to compete at the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals later this season. For more information, contact them at 317-437-5886 or find them on Facebook. AMAX Racing, all of your karting needs under 110. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, the EKN Debrief for the most recent USPKS event, the second round of the series at Road America. The Paddock Pass now coming up, brought to you by IAME USA. IAME USA is the importer and distributor of the hottest two-cycle engine program in American karting, featuring the X30, the KA100, and the Swift engines, which can be found at the club, regional, and national karting events from coast to coast. IAME USA's dedication to quality and customer service is second to none. IAME is also a proud supporter of programs such as the International Kart Federation, United States Pro Kart Series, WK Manufacturers Cup, F-Series Gear Up Challenge, and the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, Winter Series, and Pro Kart Challenges. All right, David, what do you got in the Paddock Pass for us here from Road America?
Well, you kind of got into it a little bit during our opening. It's been a while since we had been to Road America for karting, at least. As you mentioned, you've been there with Road to Indy and IndyCar Series. For me and EKN Trackside, it's been 10 years since we were at Road America. We were there for the Manufacturers Cup Series alongside the National Road Racing Series that took place in 2010. And we had not been trackside for an event for 10 years. So it was great to be there. And again, a very nostalgic weekend, because for me, myself, I personally have been going to Road America since 1998 in the road racing part of the event. Always Father's Day weekend in June with Badger Kart Club hosting the event. I had a number of years where I was behind the scenes helping kind of help put together, being part of the 1,000 entries racing around the 4.1 mile oval or road course, but just being there and seeing the sights again, I think was very cool and brought back a lot of memories, because Road America has a lot of memories just in my life. Even EKN, I believe it was Road America where me and you had a little discussion in a car about this website called ekartingnews.com.
Pretty much,
it a lot of different memories, even with my wife. We first started dating. I had to go to Road America to go race, and we were actually just first started dating around that time. She's been there a number of times. My entire family's been there. So it was really cool to kind of drive through the main paddock again, because that's where I spent so many years with the Badger Kart Club Super Nationals, as they called it back then. And it is just cool to see. And again, going to the kart track and not being there for 10 years, you don't realize how much elevation there is around that facility. It's just amazing. It amazes you.
We did the outlap.
Yeah. I mean, you sit there where the kart track is, and directly behind you is the famous kink that everybody knows on the backstretch of Road America. And you feel like you're probably 10 stories up above it. And it's just amazing to sit there and listen to the cars just scream through the kink. So, I mean, it's certainly a bucket list facility for sure. I don't know. It just, obviously being on the road course, you've done it both in car and a kart. So it's just something about that place. Even talking with Alan Rudolph and Mike Rollison, who have been there, before I was even, and Rollison's a former winner there. Alan Rudolph has the actual kart track record on the 4.1 road course. I believe it was a 2:14 lap time. So again, that's only about 20 seconds slower than an Indy car.
Yeah, in the PVP 250 supercar.
Yeah, with the BRC 250 engine. So
did he have the BRC on it?
It was a BRC. Yeah,
I remember that, man. He was hauling ass.
It was just so cool to finally get back there, and it definitely, with watching the Porsche cars out on the racetrack, it definitely wants me to go there for an IMSA or IndyCar race. It would just to be able to go around to all the different places. I mean, you could spend the entire weekend at all these different locations around the racetrack and not be able to get to all of them that you want to go to.
Yeah, well, David, hey, listen, we'll see what happens next year when we go back with IndyCar and the Road to Indy. We'll have to have you along for the weekend.
I think I just want to camp out with like Kyle Kraus and all those Dave McIntyre from Cup Karts North America, just hanging out and enjoying racing. You know, that's kind of what it's about. Dude. So
good for you. Good for you. As you said, fourth largest event in the 8-year history of the USPKS of the event. Right there with the races at Newcastle, both 2020. 2019 and GoPro in 2019. And David, when we're saying that the four biggest races in the 8-year history have been in the last 2 years, that just says a lot, I think, about the USPKS and how they've developed such a really devout following.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with kind of the influx of the major teams that have been supporting the program. You got to go back to the beginning with Franklin Motorsports, Nitro Kart Sport North America. They were kind of some of the first teams to kind of get behind the program. But now that you see the Rollison Performance Group, Crosslink Competition, Alan Rudolph Race Academy, Trinity Karting Group, all these teams that are jumping on board are helping to build those numbers up to record totals, because they understand and they see the structure and the really it's a relaxing weekend. When you talk to a lot of people that go everywhere, it's a fun weekend. It's a much more relaxing weekend. And there's kind of just a no BS type mentality where you go out, everybody's relaxed, you do your job, you get on the racetrack, you race, and you're done. And you sit back and relax and enjoy the evening. That was the thing. Saturday, there was a lot of people that were gone right away. Because we're done before 5:00, so that allows them to get back to the hotel by 6. You're out to dinner by 7, back to the hotel by 8, so you get a nice relaxing sleep rather than maybe only the 6 hours of sleep time in between days. So I think there's just a number of factors that people are gravitating to the USPKS.
Obviously, David, you going up there for the first time with the USPKS, a lot of karts there. Probably it's obviously the biggest race they've had in many, many years. What was overall with the new track surfacing, the track itself? What's the feedback you got from drivers in terms of the track itself?
Well, it was repaved at the end of 2017. So really, 2018 was the first year that the track had the new pavement. And Route 66 was there along with a number of other programs. And the one thing you heard over the last two years about the facility was the fact that there isn't a lot of grip in the track. The way the surface was laid down, you can see black being laid down, but the grip is not there. So that's something that everybody was battling with from Thursday all the way through Sunday, was getting grip and finding grip. You could even see essentially the X30 carts sliding into the apex rather than, planting the cart. So it was really more mechanical rather than, grip through the rubber in the MG tires. Just something about the way that track surface is. I don't know exactly the chemistry that and compounds that built the surface, but it was really like watching karts on an ice rink. Racing around, because it wasn't that typical, planting through the apex of the corner. It was just a lot of. One thing that really stood out was patience. That's one of the Masters drivers told me, I have no patience, and this track requires patience. I don't like it. And so that was one of the things. And the other thing too was the curbing. It's not essentially curbs that they had around the racetrack. It was the rumble strips, both at the apex and at the exit. So the exit, you're typically used to rumble strips, but the apex was quite different because karts would essentially drive over them, kind of like the Danny Formal would drive over a curb where you put it, in the middle of the race of the seat. And so there was a lot of divots, especially in like, say, the chicane area, turns 1 and 2, going up the hill, where your front tire would dip, because there was so much dirt that was missing already from carts going over it continuously. So that caused a lot of chains to be broken. It caused a lot of axles just to be bent by the dip through the apexes, or and of course kingpins as well too. So mechanics and drivers had to be on it all weekend long, making sure everything was straight and nothing was bent through those apex, because again, sometimes a faster way is the roughest way. But it was interesting to watch, and we'll see if they make changes to the racetrack and maybe add some apex curbs instead of the rumble strips. But with it being mostly a club track and rental kart track, I don't know if it's something they don't want to do, because it might cause more maintenance for the rental karts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anything else standing out in terms of the race weekend itself?
I think the one bad area that you can look at for the weekend was the way the VP fuel and the ceramic oil were mixing in the cold temperatures. So there was a lot of issues. I think it even began the weekend prior to at the Badger Kart Club event for the Route 66 Sprint Series, noticing how the fuel and the oil was separating and was not mixing well, and caused a number of issues getting, with the engine getting going. Guys would leave the grid and the engine would shut off right away, and they would come in and the carb would be full of goo or gunk that with the way the separation of the oil and the fuel were happening. So the series knows it. They made sure people were aware of it as it was going on throughout the weekend. People were still struggling with it Sunday morning, but the series is aware of it. They're looking at options they can look into. Whether it be, something with the ceramic oil, or maybe making a change, going to a different oil for the finale in GoPro, because again, it would be in October. We could be even colder temperatures. So,
David, you mentioned cooler temperatures. What kind of temps were we talking about?
I think it was probably in the 50s. So, I mean, not freezing, but colder. It's not, it had a bit of a chill every morning. Because the temperatures would drop down or in the northern part of the hemisphere. So, it's something that nobody was aware of until it happened a little bit last weekend, and more so, this past weekend for the USPKS event. So obviously the series is going to be talking with, Ceramic and see, because one of the things I thought of over the weekend, and I'm not a chemist or anything, I don't know how this stuff works, but in Europe, they run petrol. They don't run racing gas. So it's more of a pump gas that they run with racing engines. So I'm not sure if maybe it has something to do with the high octane that VP fuel is compared to what ceramic has been run with in Europe. So, because obviously there hasn't been any issues that was told about with the ceramic oil. So again, the series has to work with the ceramic and see what kind of options or solutions can be done for obviously the closing events of the 2020 season. So it'll be something that they'll be releasing some statements here in the next week or two.
Copy. Well, there's David Cole, folks, giving you the Paddock Pass, a little insight into the event itself. Of course, Paddock Pass brought to you by IAME USA. On the other side of this quick break, we'll jump into the race reports. Time to start going class by class. David will give us the update. Of course, midway through the season, we'll find out who was able to do well. We'll talk a little bit about likely how the championships are evolving as well. Stay tuned, folks. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Most recently, Leading Edge Motorsports and Greg Bell helped guide Danny Formal to victory at both the Rock the Rio and the Superkarts USA Super Nationals 23. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer for IP karting, which includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports is already looking forward to the 2021 season, which begins with the Challenge of the Americas, the premier winter series on the West Coast under the Rock Cup USA banner. Leading Edge Motorsports is also eyeing the Florida Winter Tour and several other programs. Arrive and drive services to kart preparation and driver coaching are all available under the LEM tent throughout 2021. Greg Bell has been building racing engines for over 20 years, and he's excited with the continuing growth of his new Mega Power race motor building program. It doesn't matter what color your chassis is, choose Mega Power to get to the front. For more information, click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com and find them on Facebook. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Welcome back to the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network, episode number 67. David Cole giving us a full review of the USPKS Badger State Grand Prix from C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex in Road America. The race report today brought to you by Streeter Superstands. With decades of experience and an unbeatable reputation, Streeter Superstands leads the way in quality, innovation, and affordable lifts, stands, and an amazing selection of trailer and shop accessories to make you the envy at every event. From local club racers and regional warriors to the top pro tour teams, racers demand the best, and Streeter Superstands builds it. Roll with the best and shop online at streetersuperstands.com. All right, David, as we always do, let's go headline first. Let's start with the X30 Pro category. A lot of cash up for grabs, $5,000 for the overall win. And give me kind of the headline of how things handled here this particular weekend.
Why don't you read the headline? You're a great headline reader.
All right, I'll do it for you. Duke Medjian grabs second as Conteka earns career first. I like that headline. Fill it in.
Yes, great opening round for Diego Conteka out of Florida, nice. Sweeping Saturday's action from qualifying all the way to the main event. But he got away in the pre-final, kind of drove away to the victory, and it looked like it was going to happen again in the final. Got away early from the field as they were all kind of fighting for second behind him. Ended up being veterans Brandon Lemke and Brandon Jarzakrak getting out and away from the group and running down Conteka for the lead. And they actually got away from him a little bit. But when the 2 laps to go signal was given, Lemke and Jarzakrak essentially went at it for the top spot, allowing Conteka to close back in. On the final circuit, Conteka still sitting there in third as they went into the final corner. Lemke and Jarzakrak swapped with the inside-outside type maneuvers as the last corner of the racetrack is one of the slowest corners on the circuit. So made for an interesting finish in a lot of the categories, especially in this one. And so as Lemke and Jarzakrak kind of drifted wide and high out of the last corner, Conteka just did the over-under. They all went 3 wide to the checkered flag, with Conteka getting the victory by 12 thousandths of a second.
Oh, man, that must have had people on the sidelines jumping like crazy.
That's awesome. It was a wild finish because he just sat there in third. You're like, he's out of it. He's not in it.
Yeah.
But as they kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and he set it up perfectly to come out of that last corner. I think it was Jarzakrak stuck in the middle. Thought he had Lemke beat, but Conteka came alongside on his right side, so it kind of squeezed him as I think Konteka and Lemke both kind of put the squeeze on Jarzakrak in the middle. So essentially, Lemke was there on the outside holding line with Jarzakrak to his right and Konteka to his right. So Lemke came up just short in second. I again thought it was going to be Jarzakrak with the victory, but again, Jarzakrak ended up finishing third. I think it was only 44 thousandths of him back from Konteka. So 44 thousandths between the top three.
Top three. What did the rest of the top five?
The rest of the top five is Luca Mars finishing in fourth, so a solid drive for him, and then Ryan Norberg, our four-time SCUSA champion, finishing fifth.
In recent EKN debriefs here, you've been coming up with kind of the hard charger, giving a little bit of a spotlight on the driver who may have started further back and worked their way forward. We'll continue to do that. Who made up the most ground in the opening round or the opening race for X30 Pro?
Jacob Gulick, the RPG Cosmic driver, got 14 spots, driving 27th to 13th, and again in a long 26-lap event. So that was one of the things that I should have talked about a little bit in the paddock was how long the races were, because 26 laps for the pro categories and then 24 for the others, and I believe 20 for micro and mini. So it made for some interesting racing because, again, as we said, Konteka got away early, and if the race had only been probably maybe 20 laps, maybe he would have been able to hold on. But with it being 26, it certainly made it interesting, made it for drivers who were able to go the long haul and not make many mistakes.
So the big money up for grabs in USPKS is a combined between the two races. So you kind of get the first race in the books, you kind of see where you are, and then people have to step up and make things happen on Sunday. Looks like Lemke came out of the gate pretty solidly in qualifying.
Lemke was obviously quick, qualified P1. I talked to him a little bit, said he hadn't been to the racetrack that often. I had thought he'd been there like every year that there was a race there, but I think last year was the last time he was there, so he didn't go there this year, but it's still kind of a home track for him because being in Road America, and I'm pretty sure he's got enough cadet years at Road America. But so Lemke came out qualifying P1, but Jarzakrak was able to score his first pre-final win of the weekend, so he took the field to the green flag. The start of the main event was quite chaotic because there was a number of drivers in the lead group battling for the top spot. So we had a number of driver changes or lead changes in the first half of the race. Essentially, Arias Dugmejian, who didn't really quite perform well on Saturday, kind of stepped up his game for the main event on Sunday. Started seventh on the grid, kind of worked his way up to the point. He brought along Jarzakrak and Lemke out with him, so they were kind of able to kind of break away from the rest of the group. So we had another 3-driver breakaway, but Dugmejian never put a wheel wrong and essentially led the remaining laps of the 26-lap main event. Jarzakrak just unable to work around him for the top spot. So Dugmejian gained his second victory in 4 rounds in the X30 Pro category. Jarzakrak finishing second, Lemke winning the battle for third ahead of Paulie Massimino and Luca Mars rounding out the top 5.
Hard charger, who came from the back?
Another RPG Cosmic driver with Jonathan Ports coming from 23rd to 8th, so gaining 15 spots in the 26-lap race. Very interesting. So essentially, when you kind of break down the two main events, you get a tie between Jarzakrak and Lemke. Jarzakrak gets the tiebreaker, so he takes home the $5,000.
Oh, that was a tiebreaker?
Well, because it's only the main event. So you finish second and third. You got second and third, and they go by the last completed race. So Jarzakrak gets that $2,500 extra payday.
Okay, Dave. Let's give me the clarification there. So points are awarded pre-final as well, right?
It's just the main events.
I mean overall points for the championship.
No. This is just the main events. Money is. I know it's weird. It's weird.
That's what I'm asking.
I keep telling them they're doing it wrong, but nobody listens to me.
Okay, so what? So the cash is what?
The cash is just the main events. The two main events on the weekend.
Points for the championship is everything, right?
Is everything.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So Jarzakrak ends up winning the $5,000, Lemke $2,500 based on a better second finish in the second race.
A best. I believe it's the last head-to-head finish. Yes.
Yeah. So
because neither of them won. So
Yeah.
because they both had a second, they both had a third.
Yeah. But wow, okay, that's
It's
that's
interesting.
big. That's big
I don't
money.
like it
Yeah.
because again, you get these stupid tiebreakers that decide $2,500 difference. So
Money,
maybe
yeah.
that's something we can get them to change next year, but we'll see. So because again, that was an issue the opening weekend was nobody really knew what how the money was being awarded. So
Okay. Yep. Copy. Still $5,000 for Jarzik,
still
right?
$5,000. So he's going to continue racing on with $5,000. Kanteka finishing third with his victory on Saturday, helping him to get into the top 5. So he'll take home $1,250. $750 for Luca Mars with 2 top 5 finishes, and then Arias Dumejian with $500, who I believe he was second in the money at Newcastle. So
how did the points all shake down when it's all said and done with one more race to go?
So essentially, the points haven't really changed. We still have Brandon Jarzcrack and Paulie Massimito sitting there 1-2. Brandon Lemke has moved himself up into third with the 2 podium finishes at Road America. So he's sitting back 150 points. Massimito back of Jarzcrack by 67 points. Dumejian falls to fourth. He's back by 160 because, again, every round counts. There's no drops here. So he's going to definitely have to make up some ground at GoPro along with Ryan Norberg, who sits fifth, back by 196 points.
All right, let's go to X30 Junior before we jump into the next break. Good field of junior drivers, as you said, David, and just, again, just the top guys in the sport battling it out at Road America. The headline, Burke and Cruz earn first wins of 2020. Discuss.
Ironically, it could have been Opalski and Cruz earns first wins of 2020,
really?
But something happened in the tech barn. So talk about Saturday. It was actually Jace Park as a quick driver early on, winning fast time in qualifying and earning the pre-final win. The main event essentially saw Max Opalski and John Burke get away from the rest of the field. Opalski secured the lead on the final lap and came across as the provisional winner. But again, as I said, was removed after tech for a header issue. So thus taking the victory away from Opalski and giving it to John Burke. That moved Jeremy Fletcher up into second. Jace Park fell back to third. Brent Cruz fourth. And Alex Stanfield for cross-link competition in the fifth spot.
Hey, David, and not just a race win for John Burke either.
No, it was a stellar drive because
what?
One of the things throughout the weekend was lead pack through the first half of the race was really bunched up in a number of the categories. And then the second half of the race kind of spaced everybody out, whether it be contact or just drivers finding that little bit more consistency as the race went on. So Burke definitely made his way through the field early, got up into the top 5 really quick. And then, as we said, hooked up with Opalski and was able to get away from the rest of the field, but jumped up 18 spots, 19th to first in the main event.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
We've seen it before. I think we just saw it at Newcastle multiple times, I think, by Burke.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, when you put him back in the middle of the field, that guy can put his head down. There's no doubt about it. He's one of those guys that we talk about all the time. He'll reel it. He'll be faster than the guys in front of him. He reels them in, and when he gets there, he doesn't wait.
No,
right? He's going for it. Like he's not going to get caught up with their speed. He's making sure he's going through quickly, and I'm sure a lot of it was that working his way to P1, as you said, from 19th on the grid. Moving to Sunday, obviously Jace Park in race number 1, David finishes fourth on the racetrack, gets moved to third with the penalty for Opalski, but again comes out of the gate just like he did on Saturday, qualifies on pole again.
Yeah, very, very strong out of the gate for Jace Park, who, as we know, is coming off a wrist injury from Newcastle Motorsports Park during the SCUSA Pro Tour event. So he had about almost 3 weeks, 4-week resting period for his wrist. Drove with a brace on it, so no cast, but it had a brace on it. And I talked to him every day, and he's like, doing great, doing fine. So
that's good.
So certainly, I think with the way the track conditions were, where there wasn't a lot of grip, I think that certainly helps with the wrist area and holding the wheel, because again, it was all about being smooth. As you see those mechanics on the fence line with the finger and the thumb together and the smooth. So,
yeah, dude, I gave you that. I gave you that at the Brickyard.
I wasn't paying attention to that.
I was giving you that.
You can't be smooth there. I mean, it's flat out.
That's true. Just go. Go. That's funny. All right, so in the main event, we got Park with the qualifying on pole. Cruz ends up with the pre-final. How things shake down in the main event?
Yeah, Cruz was joined by Opalski and Park out front. They essentially were able to get away from the field, as we talked about, big field early, and then you get drivers to kind of get away. They were the drivers to pull away from the field. Cruz ran a solid race, never really put a wheel wrong, never left an opportunity for Opalski or Park to take advantage of, and essentially led the majority of the race to earn his first victory of the season over Opalski and Park. The battle behind them was for fourth, with John Burke taking that position and Paul Bocuse, the hard charger of the race, moving up 14 spots, 19th to 5th. So another good drive by Paul Bocuse.
Yeah, dude, a lot. Obviously, Burke, and then Bocuse coming from the tail of the field. Obviously, lots of opportunities to get themselves back.
Yeah, I think Burke had a chain break in the pre-final on Saturday, so that was the reason why he started further back. Not quite sure what happened to Paul Bocuse, but could have been the same situation where, a DNF or just a bad pre-final put him back back in the grid. So, but it was crazy to see the hard chargers by those.
Right? Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's talk cash. Who walked away with the big money in X30 Junior?
So with the victory, and what do you have? A fourth place finish. So I think we had a tie in this race again too, because Burke had a first and a fourth, and Cruz wins the $2,500 payday over John Burke, who takes home $1,500. Jace Park earns the $750 paycheck that might help pay for the cast that was on his wrist.
No, you said brace.
Well, he had a cast so up until the weekend.
Oh. So. Then he cut it off.
So it's
Ricky Bobby, full Ricky Bobby.
Totally. I don't think he cut it at the racetrack, but it would have been cool if he did. I don't think his dad would have allowed that though.
No problem.
And then Jeremy Fletcher, fourth overall in the money with a $500 payday.
As you said, David, the finale, the final two rounds of the series in October at GoPro. How's the points look in X30 Junior heading to that event?
It's going to be very interesting to watch this category with the top four drivers separated by 74 points. And you figure 260 is the maximum amount of points you can get, plus the number of entries as well. So a lot of points to be earned over the two rounds in GoPro Motorplex. But Jace Park right now sitting in the number one spot as he leads both Brent Cruz and Alex Stanfield by 5 points. So they're tied, sitting there for second with John Burke back and forth. So those four drivers will definitely be the drivers to watch and kind of keep an eye on as we go through the weekend to watch the championship. Thomas Annunziata sitting there in fifth, 136 points back. So he still has an opportunity, depending on what happens in those two rounds, to kind of move himself up in the top, further up in the top five.
Well, David, as you said, no drops, right?
No drops, but really, you never know what can happen. You have two bad days, and there goes the championship. So if Annunziata's been quick, that's the one thing. We'll talk a little bit more in KA Junior, but he's been good and one of the top drivers doing the double.
Speaking of KA100 Junior, it will be joined by KA100 Senior and X30 Masters when we get back after this break, as the Race Report, brought to you by Stringer Superstands, continues. Technology, design, and manufacturing. These components are what make Kart Republic a world champion. The Kart Republic chassis has earned 2 FIA World Karting Championships. Here in the U.S., the brand has earned multiple victories and championships in senior, junior, and cadet competition. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor for Dino Chiesa's Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they are focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. Whether you'd like to find the Kart Republic dealer closer to you or schedule an arrive and drive package with its official North American race team, contact Kart Sport North America through their official website, kartsportna.com. We are Republic. We are one. "2019 was a great year, no question. But the off-season is here, and I know that your mind is already thinking about next season. We all want to get better and improve our skills and our racecraft. And maybe you're tired of missing the podium or even the championship. So what do? Here's what I think. Take a breather from throwing money at the newest speed secret and a new chassis you don't quite need yet. Invest in yourself. Take yourself to the next level as a driver. If you want to improve your results, do what every athlete does, regardless of the sport. Get professional coaching. And in karting, there's only one choice. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park in Houston. Alan Rudolph is a legend in our sport, and he's been a coach for over 15 years. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for 2020 by calling 866-607-7223 or head to speedsportsracingpark.com to learn more. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network, talking about the Badger State Grand Prix at the USPKS midway point up at Road America. David Cole giving us kind of the rundown. David, you talked about KA100 Junior. We'll go to that in a second. Let's start with KA100 Senior, the headline, Veterans Triumph with Bertignolli and Lemke earning wins.
Yeah, because we saw in Newcastle the rookie drivers, the young drivers scoring victories with Bryson Morris. Oh, now I can't think of the other driver who won it. Let me find out who Arias Dumedjian. Yes, right? It was Dumedjian and Bryson Morris scoring the victory. This time around, though, veterans scoring the victory, as you said, with Alex Bertignolli and Brandon Lemke scoring the victory. Lemke started out the weekend as a driver to beat in qualifying in the pre-final, had the Merlin up front and being the one everybody was watching and trying to beat. Ended up being Alex Bertignolli, though, who stood out, came in as a championship leader, had 2 podium finishes in Newcastle, so came in as a championship leader with Bryson Morris not making the event due to his rib injury, and it looked like his father was on the beach, so that's another reason why they weren't there. I had to throw him under the bus. You know.
Yeah, I think it was on the boat. I think I saw something out in the boat somewhere.
I don't know, but he's trying to be like Ryan Norberg and do videos now, so he's starting up his.
Oh, I saw that too. I did see.
So
that.
I called it Waves with Wheels because his nickname is Wheels. So it might catch on. We'll see. We'll see. So Bertignolli came in as the championship leader, kind of put himself, in the top 5 early on, started the main event 4th and jumped out to a lead early on and was able to drive away as the drivers fought for second behind him to drive away to almost a 2-second victory in the main event for his first victory of the season. Again, the 2017 inaugural champion in this category. So he has the experience with the KA package for sure. Tristan Farber was the driver who ended up winning the battle for second over Lemke, with Josh Holtz finishing in 4th and Luca Mars another top 5 finish.
Indeed. Hard charger. This one starting from, I think, tail of the field, right? 37th?
Yeah, tail of the field. I think it was contact or something happened to where Tyler Wettengel was off the racetrack on the opening circuit. So it started dead last. Came up from 37th to 13th, gaining 24 spots in the 24-lap event. So essentially a lap or a position a lap.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an onboard video I would like to see. I love when guys come from the back like that, right?
Especially in that category. There was a lot. Yeah. There was a lot of karts and a lot of close racing for sure.
So it seems like qualifying and pre-final on Sunday, pretty much carbon copy what we had on Sunday. I don't know what the racing was like in the pre-final, but Brandon Lemke again, P1 qualifying.
Yeah, the only difference I think from Saturday to Sunday was Lemke was able to keep his Merlin machine out front in the main event because, as you said, carbon copy with Lemke out front in qualifying in the pre-final. This time, though, in the main event, essentially led 21 of the 24 laps, including the last 19, to secure his first victory of the season. So 4 different winners and 4 different races for the KA100 senior category. But again, Lemke with a solid day on Sunday to sweep the day. Arias Dumejian, as we said, round one winner, sat there, was in second, a close second with Josh Oates right there in third. Blake Hunt came charging up late, just needed a little bit more shuffling from the leaders, but didn't get that to be able to close up. So he ended up finishing in fourth. And the SCUSA Winners Series champion Nathan Cicero finishing in the fifth spot.
Nice.
One of the issues
Uh-oh.
looking at. Well, we'll talk about it when we get into the points. We'll go hard charger.
You can go right now.
So no, hard charger was Keegan Bosch, who I swear yesterday was in cadets. I don't know how this guy is in senior karting already, but
you feeling old, David? You
feeling old? I'm feeling old. I mean, yeah. I mean, at least he's not at the bar drinking yet, so I'm not that old.
That's
true.
I
don't feel that old yet. But Keegan Bosch with the hard charger aboard his Cosmic with Switch racing engines. Gained 22 spots, 35th to 13th. So again,
nice.
Another onboard that you probably would want to watch.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. No doubt. So what's the points look like?
So points are a little bit shaken up as Alex Bertignoli, who was in the top, near the top five in the main event on Sunday, retired early due to a broken chain. So that shakes up the championship chase big time, as that puts him 115 points back of Brandon Lemke, with Arias Dumejian sitting there in second, 71 points out of first. So this might not be as dramatic as we might want it to be. So it all depends on what Lemke is able to do in round 5 once we get to GoPro. Luke Selikin sitting there in fourth with Hayden Jones in fifth.
All right, moving on to the KA100 junior category. The headline, 4 for 4 on different winners in 2020.
Yeah, very similar to the senior category. With the junior category also has 4 different winners in 4 rounds. So we got to see different drivers on top of the podium in this category. Saturday began. We thought it was John Burke, quickest in qualifying. Then, nope, Thomas Annunziata. He was the guy to win in the pre-final. So we thought, okay, one of those 2 drivers are going to come away with a victory. Nope. This was a pretty tight battle up front. I think the top 6 were essentially nose to tail throughout the main event. A little bit of a breakaway with the top 3, and that included Brent Cruz in the Will Power kart. He was able to lead a little bit of a breakaway with leading the final 19 laps for his first win of the season.
Wow, okay.
Danny Dazowski was among those in the second group. He was trying to close late, just didn't get enough to be able to steal a podium position from either Carson Morgan or Christian Miles, who finished second and third. Weston Workman ended up finishing in fifth, so that capped off the top 5 of that day.
A hard charger for a KA100 junior on Saturday.
Yeah, I think with these categories we're going to see a little bit less spots, but 8 spots still. Hard charger award for James Overbeck in the Tony kart, 19 to 11th. So a good run for him.
You mentioned Thomas Annunziata being pretty quick in the junior category, X30 junior, obviously fast in KA100 junior as well. Won that pre-final, as you had said. Came out of the gate strongly on Sunday as well. Tops the field in qualifying.
Topped the field in qualifying. And then we saw Brent Cruz come back with the pre-final win. And, again, another day where we had 3 different drivers at the top of the results sheets at the end of the day. This time it was Carson Morgan ending up scoring the victory in the main event. Morgan was out front, had John Burke on his back, literally, during one of the corners. A little bit of contact as Burke drove over the rear bumper of Morgan in the last corner in, I believe, around lap 8 or so. That sent Burke up and out, I guess, to the outside of the racetrack and into the walls there that are sitting there right in front of the grid. So that essentially ended his chance for a run at the victory. Morgan maintained the lead, though, through the contact, and then it was able to keep the drivers back as they continued to fight for second behind him. It was kind of a strange situation because nobody wanted to go after the leader. They just wanted to go for second. So I think Morgan just kind of sat out front and kept the wheels going and never made a mistake to go on to score his first series victory in the category. Winning the battle for second ended up being Thomas Annunziata ahead of Brent Cruz and Weston Workman, with Christian Miles earning another top 5 finish in fifth.
Strong, hard charger, as you said. We're not seeing these big, massive runs for him from the tail of the field, but Noah Baker coming home as a hard charger in race 2.
Yep, 7 spots, 14th to 7th in the 24-lap race. So another good run for him to earn the hard charger. Looking at the points, though, this one's going to be a little bit closer than what we saw in the senior. We got 3 drivers within 79 points of each other. Brent Cruz now holds the championship lead ahead of former point leader Weston Workman. So they're separated by 36 points. Junior rookie Christian Miles there sitting in 3rd. Thomas Nunziata 4th, 200 points back. So it's going to be very hard for him to be able to break into that top 3. And then Aiden Levy sitting in 5th.
All right, let's move to X30 Masters, our favorite old guys. The headline, it's the Scott and Scott show. I like that.
Scott seems to be a good first name if you're racing in the Masters category. Essentially, these were the top 2 drivers throughout much of the weekend, with a little bit of sprinkling from the Technokart guys in there as well. Scott Kopp came in leading the championship with his 2 victories at Newcastle, came out on top with the quick time in qualifying. Didn't quite get the start he wanted to in the pre-final. That allowed Christian Vomier in the Technokart to jump out to the lead and the win in that race. But in the main event, Kopp again shuffled back to 4th early. Didn't quite get on the gas quick enough when the green flag waved. Got dropped back to 4th, but worked his way up to the lead by lap 14, and then led the remainder of the 24-lap race to score his 3rd straight victory in the category. Vomier ended up finishing a close 2nd, with Scott Roberts rounding out the podium in 3rd. Last year's champion David Galwina sitting in 4th, and Alex Mueller in the comp cart in 5th.
And indeed, David, you've already kind of mentioned the hard charger, 9 spots from 12th to 3rd for Scott Roberts. What happened to put him back in the field?
Yeah, again, one of those going through the chicanes and broke the chain. So he had to sit and watch the pre-final from the side of the racetrack. But he was, again, quick to get around guys early on in the main event. So gained a number of spots early, got into the top 5, and then eventually got himself into the podium position.
Headline is the Scott and Scott show, but you did mention the fact that the Technokart drivers, obviously right in the middle of the fight as well in the hunt. Christian Vomier winning the pre-final on Saturday, but Laurent Tumardin on the Techno, getting the qualifying P1 position on Sunday.
Yes, he did. Was good on cold tires, new tires, and
chillier in the morning.
Yeah,
said, right?
Again, Scott Kopp was another victim of the oil situation. Didn't get out for warm up, so qualifying was his warm up session. Didn't quite get the lap down that he wanted to in qualifying, so Mardan took advantage, got quick time in that session. Kopp was able to come to grips with everything in the pre-final, scored the victory, and led them to the green flag. Led the first 20 laps of the main event before Roberts kind of flipped the switch and was like, "Let's go, buddy," and snuck around Kopp in the last turn, and essentially held on to the point for the last 3 laps with a pretty good, solid last 3 laps to hold off Kopp for his first victory of the season.
Fill us in on the remainder of the top 5 in that category.
So Mardan, again, quick all weekend, just had some issues on Saturday with brakes, so that's why we didn't see him in the top 5 on Saturday. But Sunday, he was able to remedy that and score the 3rd step on the podium. Alex Mueller ended up finishing 4th because of David Galwina was crossed the line 4th, but was removed from the results for a carb issue. So a DQ for the defending champion. So he essentially is not going to be able to defend that crown, but already saw that he's looking to come back to GoPro next month and battle for the victories there. So we'll see him back better. So that moved up Mueller up to 4th, and then Logan Cozy finishing 5th for the 2 top cart drivers.
You know, you're not seeing a lot of motion, David, throughout the field when 4 spots is good enough for the Charger. Rob Mayer in the Cosmic 12th to 8th. It seems like a lot of guys just holding their spots. Or?
He said he was going to give us a show, but it was only 4 spots. But Rob Mayer did earn the hard Charger.
It's a decent show.
It was a different show. Really, the show was up on the hill. I have a photo of it. You haven't seen it, but it was obviously X30 Masters was the last race of the day. So only a few people were sitting up on the hill. It's actually right behind where turn 6 is. That's the highest point of the kart track. And so it was a great viewing area. So you would typically see a lot of golf carts and people sitting up there to watch the race. There was a mixture between the Speed Concepts Racing guys and the Rollison Performance Group guys going shirtless and cheering on their drivers through the last race of the day. So,
of course, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, it didn't quite start raining then, but maybe they were taking them off to be ready. I'm not quite sure, but it was pretty funny to watch.
I bet. All right, guys, one more break here in this particular edition of the EKN Debrief when we get back on this race report brought to you by Streeter Superstands, Mini Swift, and Micro Swift. David will give us the full details on how things shook down at Road America. Top-level production with a focus on a single form of motorsports, karting. This is MG Tires. MG Tires USA, underneath the Vantage Karting Group banner, is the official distributor of the MG Tires brand for the United States. MG Tires are the official spec tire in the United States Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and countless clubs across the country. No matter your compound preference, MG Tires USA has you covered. The 2020 season brings a new homologation period, featuring new names for the same superior products. Whether it's the medium SH Red, the soft SM Yellow, the super soft green SS, or the intermediate white IZ, MG Tires USA has your winning set of rubber in stock. Indoor and outdoor rental facilities can now trust MG Tires with their solution for long-lasting and the best performance, with 3 different compounds available through the RL line. For more info about MG Tires USA and its extensive list of dealers near you, check out their website at mgtiresusa.com. MG Tires, for the drivers. You've heard and read about us. We are the Rollison Performance Group. We race to win. Our senior program is the best in the sport, and we have the SCUSA Pro Tour X30 Senior Championship to prove it. Our coaching staff includes 4-time SCUSA National Champion Ryan Norberg, 3-time SCUSA Supernats winner Bonner Moulton, SCUSA Pro Tour X30 Junior Champion, 2015 Rotax Grand Finals Vice Champion, and Junior Development Specialist Luke Selkin, and our hands-on owner, multi-time champion, and IKF Duffy winner Mike Rollison. This isn't sideline coaching. We're on track, and we dogfight with you. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. You learn more and more with every single lap. Our seniors win races, like Hannah Greenmeyer at the SCUSA Winter Series opener in Florida. And they win because they've been trained, coached, and honed by our RPG staff. Hurricane Hannah is proof positive. If you're a mini driver ready to move up, or a junior driver who's done with running mid-pack, join the team that will develop your skills and take you to the podium. At the Rollison Performance Group, we turn juniors into pros. In 2020, we'll be racing at the SCUSA Winter Series, Pro Tour and California Pro Kart Challenge, the Florida Winter Tour, and the United States Pro Kart Series, as well as the IKF Northwest region. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. We're the Rollison Performance Group. We race to win. Back to cap things off here from our EKN Debrief, reviewing the USPKS event at Road America. David Cole alongside Rob Howden. Of course, our race report brought to you by Streeter Superstands, Mini Swift and Micro Swift to cap things off. The headline, David, in Mini Swift, near perfect weekend for Max Garcia.
A very strong performance by the Willpower Kart Sport North America driver. Strong all day Saturday, but essentially was nowhere near anybody else throughout the day. Set fast time in qualifying, won the pre-final comfortably, and then just walked away to nearly an 8-second victory over the field on the main event. So a solid, great run for his first victory of the season. Parker DeLong ended up winning the battle for second ahead of Cameron Brinkman. Ben Mayer with his best performance of the year in fourth, and Mateus Orjuela, the championship leader going into the weekend, ended up finishing in fifth. But again, a solid performance by Garcia over the 20 laps.
Yeah, 7.4 seconds. That's a pretty major race win in the mini Swift category. How about the hard charger?
Hard charger went to Oscar Iliff, driving 7 spots up from 15th to the 8th position. So a good run for him. Again, another one of those drivers that we're seeing kind of continuously get better as the season goes along.
Yeah, David, looking at the results and, of course, the notes that you have here, Garcia really he wasn't P1 for only one session of the entire weekend, and that was qualifying on Sunday.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 0.02 of a second that separated the two in qualifying. Let me pull it up right here now. I'm right. 0.02 of a second separated Max Garcia from Ayrton Grimm. So Grimm was able to lay down a stellar lap in qualifying to steal the pole position from Max Garcia. A little bit of contact for Grimm on the opening circuit of the pre-final, put him into the wall, essentially ended his race early on. Garcia was able to drive away to the victory in that race. The main event was a little bit of a closer ordeal with Garcia getting shuffled back a little bit early on with Mateus Orjuela and Cameron Brinkman putting on the challenge. Orjuela stole the lead for one lap, but Garcia led the other 19 laps and scored his second victory of the weekend, becoming the only driver to score 2 victories in the same category on the weekend.
Wow, and what a dominant, like you said, Dave. He led 20 laps in the first race and 19 in the second. So literally, he only didn't lead one lap in the main event.
In the main events, that's correct. So, but again, this Sunday was a lot closer event with Cameron Brinkman and Mateus Orjuela right there. David Cunningham out of the Speed Sports tent had his best finish of the season, finishing in fourth, with Spencer Conrad earning a top 5 with his 5th place result.
David, you mentioned that Ayrton Grimm, who qualified on pole, had an issue in the pre-final, got into the wall, but I guess that kind of lined him up for a good hard charger run back up through the field. 11
spots, 23rd to 12th, was closing up, I think, on like Parker DeLong. So certainly had the pace on the day. Just didn't have the racing luck on his side to be able to put it on the podium. But all in all, a good performance for him in the main event after a little bit of a heartbreak in the pre-final.
Obviously, a super strong weekend for Max Garcia. How does that shake down in terms of where he sits in the points now?
Well, that essentially jumps him over Mateus Orjuela in the championship lead, gives him a 17-point buffer as they go into the season finale. Cameron Brinkman sits there in third, 97 points out of the lead. Cooper Shipman and Parker DeLong are sitting 4th and 5th, but they're going to need a lot of help to be able to battle for that top spot in the championship hunt.
All right, final category to head to review here in the EKN Debrief podcast. David, let's go to the headline for Micro Swift Nitro Kart Sweeps main events. Give me the lowdown.
It was almost a complete sweep by Nitro Kart on the weekend, as we saw. It started on Saturday. Brady Shad, the Wisconsin driver, who I believe lives right there in Plymouth, Wisconsin, right just south of the Road America facility. I've stayed in Plymouth a number of times. Not sure if you have too or not. Well, yeah, I remember you staying there once. We won't get into why.
Let's not talk about that one. If we talk about that, I'm talking about your hotel ordeal. We both have a hotel ordeal, Cole.
I did drive by. I did drive by where that RV was that you stayed in. But
I think I played golf though in Plymouth.
Yeah, there's a little golf course right by the American. It used to be an American. That was right there, and there was a little par 3 course right there. Yep.
Yeah, I played that a couple times.
So yeah, Brady Chad from Plymouth ended up setting fast time in qualifying, winning the pre-final. It was him and Cade Jagger in the other Nitro Kart, and another Wisconsin driver from West Bend. Now the West Bend name, you got to know that one, right?
Of course.
Why?
As in what? A driver or the engine?
As in the West Bend. There you go. The engine. That's the one I'm talking about.
I got you. I want to give you props, though, David. When we did the Outlap podcast, did you not kind of say that Brady Shab was going to be a guy we had to watch?
I did. I call it, well, when you're, especially the younger categories, when you're at a racetrack that you race at weekly, it certainly helps you when the big shows come to town. So you got to factor in some of the local drivers to shine, and Brady did just that. Ended up coming up just one spot short with Cade Yeager able to better him in the main event. They were able to get away, so they kind of battled it out for a little bit early on, but Yeager was able to pull away lap by lap, scoring the victory by 2 seconds over Brady. Vivek Kanthan, who we talked about a lot in July and August in the micro category, earning another podium finish and with the third place result. Jace Petty in fourth, and Jack Iliff, who bounced back from a DNF in qualifying. He was one of the drivers who suffered a fuel issue, made no laps in qualifying, and drove his way up through the pre-final and the main event to end up fifth.
Yeah, nicely done for him. How about the hard charger in that particular category?
Salvador Della Vecchia. Vecchia, correct.
Della
Vecchia. I remember you saying that name now. Yeah.
2 C's.
Della Vecchia. All right. 9 spots, 17th to 8th. That's why I'm not an announcer.
That's it, dude. You write the names, I talk about them. That's good.
Like Ebony and Ivory, right?
That's it, bud. I'm sorry. It's just going to my head.
I know.
Already.
I'm thinking of the Saturday Night Live skit.
So am I. 9 spots up, 17th to 8th for Salvador Della Vecchia. Good run for him. And yeah, we've been talking about him running well throughout the season. Let's move to Sunday, because a new driver kind of working his way to the front in qualifying.
Yeah, the only time a nitro kart wasn't at the front of the field in qualifying with Vivek Kanthan. A quick lap in qualifying put him out front, but Carson Weinberg, one of the veterans in the micro Swift category, came away with the pre-final win. He and Kanthan drove away from the rest of the field in the main event. Excuse me. And Kanthan just wasn't able to quite get by Weinberg for very long. Took the lead a couple of times that Weinberg struck right back, including the final circuit and going up through the chicane. Kanthan just unable to make a move to try and get the lead back in the final circuit, thus allowing Weinberg to score his first victory of the season at the series. Kanthan with another podium finish though, with the runner-up, and then I see this another. Gianmatteo Rosso.
Gianmatteo Rosso.
Finishing third, his first podium finish of the season in the Nitro Kart. Ethan Tovo finishing fourth. And again, Jack Iliff battling back from a DNF in qualifying again. Fought his way forward in the pre-final. Thought he was going to be able to challenge for a podium position, but got shuffled back in the main event. There was a large pack essentially battling for fourth. As Gianmatteo was able to get away in third from all that chaos, but Iliff came in as a 2-time winner and the championship leader, salvaging another 5th place result. So that'll essentially help him in the long run when you look at the championship.
Yeah, let's before we go to the points, let's go to the hard charger. 7 spots up, 20th to 13th.
Yeah, the Californian Tristan Murphy aboard the comp cart, able to gain 7 spots there. So a hard charger for him. And again, looking at the points, Jack Iliff remains the championship leader, has a 60-point advantage over Carson Weinberg. Vivek Kanthan sitting third, 82 points back. So they will essentially be the championship contenders going into the weekend. Asher Osteen didn't quite have a good weekend in Road America. He sits fourth in the points, 140 points back, with Gianmatteo in fifth, 33 points out of the lead.
Rosso P5. All right, folks, final break in this particular edition of the EKN Debrief. When we get back, we'll wrap things up. David will give us a little look at the Constructors' Championship, and then we'll talk about the upcoming events on the EKN Trackside Live race calendar. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 rungs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatus chassis, 180 horsepower, and a paddle shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 280 horsepower for the Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung on the road to Indy. Add in increased grip and aero downforce, and the Tatus PM18 becomes an incredible training machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has helped train a third of the grid expected for the 2020 IndyCar Series. At all three levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. Former karters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar, like Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, Zach Veach, Jack Harvey, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Charlie Kimball, Renus VK, and 2019 Indy Lights champion Oliver Askew. Racing karting graduates like Kyle Kirkwood and Braden Eves are in the middle of their journeys right now as well. Follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there is only one choice: the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. If you're searching for a program to elevate you up the motorsports ladder, Crosslink Competition is your next step. Crosslink Competition provides arrive and drive programs that include driver coaching, data analysis, and engine rental programs for all major events in the 2020 season. Team Crosslink is scheduled to compete at the SCUSA Pro Tour, Rock Cup USA, and the United States Pro Kart Series events, as well as regional and local programs from their home base in Texas. Crosslink Competition is a full retail shop for the Prix and OTK parts line. Many new and used packages are available right now through their Dallas headquarters. Drivers interested in making the jump from karting to cars, Crosslink provides a streamlined opportunity for you. Team Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports was the 2019 F4 United States Championship title winner, providing the perfect transition within the same operation. Drivers looking to compete with an elite-level karting program or to pick up gently used team equipment are asked to call 214-432-4413. Be sure to follow all the team's social media platforms at Team Crosslink. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, wrapping things up from episode number 67, I think, David. Let me scroll back to the top here. 67. Yep. That's a lot. Let's jump into the wrap-up here right now. David, as we've talked about, fourth largest event in the 8-year series history. Pretty impressive for the USPKS.
Yeah, and it could be bumped to the fifth largest when we get to GoPro next month. Yeah. But really, just as we talked about in the Paddock Pass, was just the fact that the last 2 years have been record numbers for this program in the 8th year of the series. So it's certainly peaking right now, and they're hoping to continue that trend going into year number 9. But just big numbers, and again, happy. What's the word I'm looking for? Relaxed and just enjoy. Everybody's enjoying themselves every weekend at the USPKS.
That's good. Like if there's a good atmosphere and a positive atmosphere, man, that's awesome. That's good.
But again, look at and then going to Road America for the first time in series history, and for the first time for a number of the people in the paddock. So a lot of praises on being at Road America. Certainly, just being there, as we talked about earlier, is amazing. But to race there, the racetrack certainly provided its challenges. So it kind of took people out of their comfort zone and made them try different things and look at things a little bit differently regarding chassis setup and this and that. So I think it's certainly, and it's smooth. It wasn't rough other than, the G load here and there going up and down the hills. But a smooth racetrack. It's not bumpy. Obviously you run over curbs, you're going to have a little bump, but it was good. I'm not quite sure, though, we'll see USPKS racing on Labor Day weekend. Obviously, as we talked about in the opening, COVID-19 kind of shuffled the schedule around, and typically the USPKS is done in July, so this is the first time they've actually raced past the month of July. Actually, I think August might have been the old series ending date, but this is the first time they actually raced in September. So I don't see them keeping a date on Labor Day weekend. Of course, Rock Island Grand Prix has always been traditionally on that weekend. So with that race continuing into 2021, Mark Coates has kind of confirmed with me already that they will not be on top of Labor Day weekend.
Copy. Okay. Overall, David, the weekend itself, everything were on schedule, pretty clean?
Yeah, as you said, the atmosphere was positive. on track. You were on track each day at 8 a.m. We were done before 5 p.m. each day on track. We had a 45-minute lunch break, so you know how much we love that.
We did a little break in the action.
But nice. So the staff and competitors did a great job keeping on schedule. We got delayed for something. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't very long, and we caught right back up to it. And Tim Coyne did a great job with the time schedule. Didn't have any lapses or overabundant gaps in between races. So he did a great job there. Did a great job on the mic. Again, all the staff did a great job. Again, it's they have a lot of passion for the sport. It's not they don't do it for a living. They're here to because they love it, and that's a great thing.
So let's talk about the championship, constructors championship. Which chassis ended up getting the big wins? I know we talked about it through it, but let's kind of condense it on into one.
Yeah, you look at the numbers. We had 7 different chassis brands win on the weekend over the 14 different main events. Will Power Kart earning 4 on the weekend. They had 3 alone on Saturday with KA100, KA Junior, and Mini Swift, and then added a second Mini Swift with Max Garcia on Sunday. So they were able to take the top spot in the Constructors Championship for the weekend. Tony Kart earned 3 victories themselves, with Kart Republic earning 2. And then we have Merlin, Esprit, Red Speed, and Nitro Kart. Oh, sorry, I forgot Nitro Kart had 2. Sorry.
They had 2.
Yep. Yeah. They both had both micro. Right? So they had 2. Kart Republic had 2. And then you have Merlin, Esprit, and Red Speed with 1 each.
With 1. All right, time to jump into the EKN Trackside Live race calendar. We'll let you know where we're going in the next couple of weeks. Cometic Gasket's the sponsor of this particular segment. Cometic Gasket has been a leader in the performance gasket market by collaborating with engine builders such as Roush Yates Engines and ECR from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Cometic's cutting-edge gasket technology has then been applied to the Burris Cup Series as a spec gasket. From there to the entire gasket line for the karting market, including both 2- and 4-cycle engines. Cometic offers the latest and most complete line of gaskets for today's performance-minded karter. Visit www.cometic.com for a complete line of karting gaskets. A custom build? No problem. Give us a call at 440-354-0777 and we can help. Again, that's Cometic Gasket at Cometic.com. All right, David, 3 events essentially on the docket here right now. We may be adding a 4th. I haven't done that quite yet, but September 17, 18, 19, you go back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't know if I don't know the last time you were at Charlotte, but Concord, North Carolina, the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals.
I was there last year
for
the I did the video walk around the actual racetrack we will be racing on for the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals.
That's right.
Because
pre-repaving.
Because again, I was just talking with somebody. I said, when I became a trustee and I did my meeting at the WK office, which sit on the back stretch of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, I just thought to myself, why are we not utilizing that famous racetrack that have seen so many big races there? And so I'm just happy that finally it's clicked on and people got behind it, and they were able to repave it, and now they're going to utilize that racetrack over and over again. So great to be part of history with the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals going to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the first time. So it becomes part of history as we've seen the KZ, or it wasn't KZ back then. It was a Formula C.
It was Formula C
World Championships back in 98 was it?
98, yeah. Biagio won again. His 4th championship.
So we've seen stars of karting. We've seen international events. We've seen Briggs races.
WK Constructors
Championships. So a number of events. Lots of Manufacturer Cup Series events there. Now Rotax is going to be making its first stop there. So it'll be cool to be part of history and to see. I believe 9 tickets are going to be given away on the weekend to the 2020 Rotax Grand Finals, which will be held in Portugal this January.
Yep. October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, getting ready for what should be a massive Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, the 4th edition of the event at Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana. David, that should be a tremendous event. I think you posted on our Facebook page earlier today, already over 105 or 106 entries already, and we're a month out.
We're a third of the way that you want it to be for the total, right? I think you wanted 300, mm-hmm. Right?
I think that's what it was. When I say 300 or 350?
Oh, I mean 300.
Okay, well,
Well,
300 is good. We'll take it,
but we got
especially with the Canadians.
I was going
not
to
being able
say
to come
that's going to
down.
be tough to do with a lot of the Canadians not coming down. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to say 250 to 280 is doable from what we saw last year. I believe it was 280 last year. So we should be able to get back to that mark because we know a number of people who weren't at the event last year, including USA drivers, are going to be there this year. So we still have time though. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with the border, but we still have time if in fact that does open.
Yeah, the border closed right now up to September the 21st. They'll revisit that, of course, if they do end up opening it up. It's a possibility, but I'm not sure that's a very good odds at this point. One more event. We have David on the Trackside Live calendar for now, of course, waiting for more events to come in late October, November, December. But in talking about the USPKS, as we've talked about already, their finale, October 16th, 17th, 18th, you'll be back down there with Tim Coyne again. GoPro Motorplex, middle of October.
Yeah, middle of October. I don't know what the weather's going to be like then. I'm going to guess rain.
Yep. You're going to guess rain?
I'm going to guess rain. I'm going to put it out there right now. I know people don't want to hear it, but every year I go to GoPro, except for the summer months when it's like, say, July or August or June, it rains. Because we've been there, the series began in 2013 in April. Well, April showers, of course, bring May flowers, but so it rained every time we were there in April. I want to say I was there in October for a WK Manufacturers Cup race as well, too. And I think it rained that weekend. So I think the easy bet is to say rain.
Well, let's hope that does not happen. But of course, as you said, it's a definite possibility.
But it could make the championship chases a lot more interesting with some precipitation.
Of course it would. Of course it would. That would definitely change things up in a big way. And again, that championship coming to a close, as David said, in October. We've wrapped things up, though, here with episode 76 of the EKN Debrief. David essentially walking you through everything that happened at CTEC, Manufacturing Motorplex at Road America. Awesome to see a top-level national program get back to Road America, a great facility, America's national park of speed. And a big thank you again to Franklin Motorsports for being our presenting sponsor of this particular EKN Debrief. Lots more to come, folks, on the EKN Radio Network. Look for more podcasts coming. We'll have a This Week in Karting coming pretty soon as well. Of course, David Cole will be putting together all the live coverage from this event, the Badger State Grand Prix. Get that into podcast form and get it up on the EKN Radio Network. Lots still to come, as we said. Lots more racing here in 2020 as well. Hope things are going well, folks. Take care of yourself at home. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.